Hello, my friend. It's good to see you here today. Today, I have a true story for you. A story that happened more than 100 years ago, but it begins with a girl and a lamb. She was 9 years old, living on a small farm, and she loved animals more than anything else in the world. One morning, something happened in the barn. A baby lamb was born, but it was weak. Too weak to stand, too weak to survive. Her father said, "The lamb will die. There's nothing we can do." But the girl looked at him and said, "Please, let me keep it." From that moment, her life and the lamb's life would never be the same. What happened next is the part I can't wait to tell you, because this is the story that gave the world one of the most famous poems ever written. Are you ready? Let's begin. The barn smelled of hay and warm earth. Morning light slipped through the wooden slats, painting thin golden lines across the dusty floor. The air was cold, but inside the barn it felt safe, familiar. Mary's small boots crunched over the straw as she stepped closer. And there it was, a tiny bundle of white wool, lying so still it looked almost like a forgotten rag doll. Its little chest rose and fell in shallow breaths. Mary's father stood nearby, his rough hands resting on the handle of a pitchfork. He had the calm, steady face of a man who had seen life and death on the farm too many times to count. "It's no use, Mary," he said quietly. "The lamb won't make it." Mary felt her throat tighten. "No," she whispered, then louder, "Please, let me keep it." She looked up at him with wide eyes, her voice trembling. "Please, Dad, I can take care of it." Her father sighed, looking out toward the open fields where frost still clung to the grass. He knew the truth. A lamb that couldn't stand within minutes of birth had almost no chance. But he also knew his daughter, stubborn, gentle, and with a heart too big for her small frame. Finally, he said, "All right, but don't get your hopes up." Mary's hands were small, but she gathered the lamb into her arms as if it were made of glass. Its wool was damp, and she could feel the fragile bones beneath. She held it close to her chest, whispering softly, "You'll be okay. I'm here." That night, Mary smuggled the lamb into her bedroom. The farmhouse was quiet. Her parents thought she was asleep. She wrapped the little creature in an old quilt, the one with faded blue squares, and placed it beside her pillow. The lamb's tiny breaths warmed her arm. Outside, the wind rattled the shutters, but inside that little bed was a world of its own, a world where Mary could believe that love might be enough. When dawn came, Mary woke to a sight she would never forget. The lamb was standing, shaky, wobbly, but standing. Its dark eyes looked straight into hers. "Good morning," she said, her voice breaking into a smile. "You're alive." She ran to the kitchen, grabbed a bottle, and filled it with warm milk. The lamb drank greedily, tail flicking. From that day, they were inseparable. Mary carried the lamb everywhere. She fed it, brushed it, even talked to it as if it could understand. "Let's go," she would say, and it would follow. "Stay here," she would command, though it rarely obeyed. The other children in the village would giggle when they saw Mary walking down the dusty road with the lamb trotting behind her. One crisp spring morning, Mary walked to school with her older brother. The sun was barely up, the grass still wet with dew. Behind them, a soft patter of hooves followed. "Go back home," Mary called over her shoulder. The lamb blinked at her, uncomprehending. Mary sighed and scooped it up, carrying it over the shallow creek and the wooden fences until they reached a small white schoolhouse. Inside, the air smelled of chalk dust and ink. Mary's desk was in the second row, by the window. She slid into her seat and quickly tucked the lamb underneath, covering it with her shawl. Her heart pounded every time it shifted or let out a faint bleat. For a while, everything went smoothly. Mary copied her sums onto the slate, trying not to glance down too often. But then, the teacher called her to the chalkboard. She froze. The moment she stepped away from her desk, the lamb wriggled free. Heads turned. The animal tottered down the aisle, hooves clicking against the wooden floor. A wave of laughter burst through the room. The teacher's face darkened. Mary Sawyer. His voice was sharp, each syllable heavy with disapproval. You will take that animal out of here at once. Mary's cheeks burned. She felt every pair of eyes on her, the heat rising all the way to her ears. She bent down, scooped up the lamb, and hurried outside, blinking back tears. Behind her, the laughter faded into the muffled hum of lessons continuing without her. Outside, she leaned against the white-painted wall, clutching the lamb. It's okay, she whispered. I'm here. But inside, she felt as if her world had cracked. At 9 years old, embarrassment feels like the end of everything. When the bell rang for dismissal, Mary kept her gaze fixed on the ground. That's when she noticed an older boy, John, watching her. He'd seen her crying earlier and had tried to cheer her up, but she hadn't spoken. Now, he hesitated before walking away. Mary turned toward the path home, the lamb trotting faithfully beside her, and John stood still, watching them go. The next morning, as Mary slid into her desk, John stepped forward and placed a folded slip of paper in front of her. She looked up, surprised. It's for you, he said simply. Inside was a short poem, written in careful script. Mary had a little lamb. Its fleece was white as snow. Mary read it twice, the corners of her mouth curving upward despite herself. The poem was simple, but in those lines she felt understood. And though she didn't know it yet, those words would live on long after she and the lamb were gone, carrying with them the memory of kindness, love, and the gentle bond between a girl and the creature she refused to give up on. Now, let's pause for a moment and learn two useful phrases from today's story. First, to keep something or someone. It means to take care of or hold on to something. For example, Mary said, "Please let me keep the lamb." You can use this phrase anytime you want to say you want to hold on to or take care of something. Second, the phrase to be never seen without something or someone. It means always being with someone or something. In the story, Mary was never seen without the lamb. You can say, I am never seen without my phone, or she is never seen without her notebook. Now, let's practice together. Repeat after me. Please let me keep the lamb. Please let me keep the lamb. I am never seen without my phone. I am never seen without my phone. Great. Keep practicing these phrases to build your speaking confidence. So, what can we learn from Mary and her little lamb? This story shows us the power of kindness and determination. Even when everyone said it was impossible, Mary didn't give up. She believed in the little lamb, and through her love and care, she changed its fate. Sometimes life challenges us with difficult moments. Like Mary, we can choose to be kind to ourselves and others, and keep trying, even when the odds seem against us. That is the true meaning behind the famous poem. When you are always kind, you can create strong bonds, just like Mary and her lamb. Thank you for listening to this story today. I hope it inspired you as much as it inspired me. Remember, learning English is a journey, and every small step you take counts. Keep practicing, keep speaking, and don't be afraid to make mistakes. I'm happy you spend this time with me. See you next time.